kind of random.
What up, y'all? I am your host, Vegas of Hip Hop Now Podcast. With me, I got the homie Yintz.
What's happening?
And if you know, like I know, this is another podcast available on the Hip Hop Now Podcast stream and brought to you by the producers of Hip Hop Now Podcast over at patreon.com/hip hop now. Visit the site, check out the levels, support the movement. The link is in the description of this episode. Yeah, I know what it is. It's a new week, new to talk about. so Yintz, what the are people arguing about on Twitter this week?
All right, here we go. All right, so everybody knows about the verses that just recently took place through 6 Mafia, Bone Thugs. Somebody made a comment of saying this is an exact reason of why the South has had hip hop in a chokehold for a long time, for many years, right?
What?
Yeah, that was a statement made, and then a statement after that said, and this is where it gets interesting: the South don't even have one rapper on a top 10 GOAT list. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, shit.
Well, first of all, that first statement, I can't tell if that's a compliment or a sign of disrespect.
The chokehold thing?
Yeah. Is that a compliment?
I think the person meant it as the South kind of been running hip hop, the sound, Southern sound, the Southern, hooks and all that kind of stuff is, what that person, I believe that person was trying to say, that because 3 6 Mafia, according to this person, won, and according to a lot of other people, won, 3 6 Mafia being from Memphis, being from the South, it only stands to reason that the South, that sound has had hip hop in the chokehold, to quote.
And I guess that's a compliment then.
I'm thinking it is. I'm thinking that that's what the person was meaning it as. The South is the sound that everybody's
well, yeah, because if you're using it with slang, typically that's a compliment. But if somebody got your ass in a chokehold in real life, that ain't positive.
No. Eyes bulging.
Right. Well, to that the first statement, I think it's stupid, because are we going to pretend as if Yeezy and Gucci Mane didn't already have a versus? Like, to make that statement doesn't, I don't know. To me, I think it has nothing to do with nothing, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think not that I watch the verses, because I don't really watch them.
Right.
But I saw all the things that happened. But I kind of feel like that statement is just a statement they wanted to make. And, Bone Thugs and 3 6 Mafia being in the recent verses was just their way of loosely tying it to their statement, because it doesn't make sense. There's already been a couple people from the South in verses, in particular hip hop. So what makes this any different, So to me, just that sounds stupid. Now, the second part, well, what do you think about that? The whole, like, what do you think they meant by that?
The chokehold thing?
Yeah. Do you think it was a compliment?
I think that they're saying the sound, the sound from the South has gone nationwide, so to speak. A lot like you can. I think they're saying like cats like French Montana, kind of adopted like a Southern type style with the music. Even 50 Cent to a certain extent, with slang and production choices. It's pretty, close to. It's got a lot of Southern influence. I believe that. Chokehold thing. I don't know if I'd go as far as saying a chokehold, but it definitely a lot of influence from the South has gotten into a lot of the more popular mainstream, what we might hear radio hip hop. So yeah, I don't think it was meant as a diss or disrespectful or anything like that. But also to your point, Gucci Mane and everybody, done the verses before. It's not like we haven't seen any Southern acts or anything on it. So, but yeah, I don't think it was any disrespect. The second one, that second one is gonna be the thing though.
Right. Yeah, just real quick again on that first point. I don't think, because this is what I hate about hip hop Twitter, man. This is what I hate with the manufactured ass statements. The only thing is, it's not that the statement isn't true for hip hop today, because it is.
Right.
It's the fact that when Bone Thugs and Harmony and 3 6 Mafia were at the height of what they were doing, the South wasn't running hip hop. They're running it now. And and that, it didn't start now, obviously. But when they were at their height, they were just another successful rap group, you know what I'm saying, who just happened to be from the South. But then eventually the South started. I would look at Jeezy and Gucci Mane more as when it was like, oh, now it's a chokehold, right?
Right, I hear you.
It was the ringtone rappers that kind of started to dominate, and most of them was from the South. But then when you got your Jeezys and your Gucci Manes and your Boosies and cats like that, Future, all of that, Migos, that's when it was a chokehold. That's when you, like, back when Bone Thugs and Harmony and 3 6 Mafia were reigning, New York rappers sound like New York rappers. But when you fast forward to your point, especially to the 2000s, when the South, especially Atlanta, really started taking over hip hop, that's when I couldn't identify who was from the South and who wasn't. Like, you could have told me Lil Uzi Vert is from Philly.
Right. Yeah, that is. Yeah, you're right.
We don't never hear talk about that, do we? Right? Like, we'll never hear that, right? He from the block. What rules is that?
Oh, what part of Philly?
Right. And look, even Pop Smoke, right? He from Brooklyn. A couple of cats.
Yeah, what was the Panda Cat? Ain't he from out of New York?
Yeah, he from Brooklyn too. He damn, what's his name? Because he came out, he sounded like Future.
Yeah.
Damn, I can't remember his name. It's on the tip of my tongue too.
Word, I know.
Right. It's damn. I keep getting ready to say Future, but that's who he sound like.
Word,
but yeah, even ASAP Ferg, all of them were kind of rhyming like that. So even ASAP Rocky, to a lesser extent.
Right. I remember there was a lot of talk about them like kind of having like a style that like closer to like the Houston area, but still southernly, influenced. But yeah, you can hear it whenever those cats first started up like that. Yeah.
The Panda Cats name is Designer.
Right. Yeah, that is.
Yeah. So now that second part, can you run that back again? What was the second part?
The person's statement to answer that initial statement was, well, okay, but the South don't have one representative in a top 10 GOAT list.
Damn.
They don't have one. Yeah, that now. I mean, you always hear people mentioning Andre 3000. So I've seen plenty of people with him, Scarface.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, in their top 10. So that's two right there. I don't know if the person's statement was like, maybe like some kind of national magazine thing. Because, I mean, if you pay attention to the timeline, you see a lot of people, championing Scarface without question, and 3000.
So let me ask you this: you're from the South, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Who would you put in your top 10 that you consider for you is not because they're from the South? They just happen to be from the South, but they're worthy of a top 10 GOAT list.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, without question, Scarface is definitely worthy of top 10. I mean, you see a lot of people bring up Lil Wayne. Now, this next name I'm gonna bring up, this is where things get tricky because a lot of people seem to not know where the South is or how far the South stretches, I guess you'd say. But like somebody like Fonte, the Carolinas, the Carolinas are the South. It's the South, right? And the same thing, Scarface, like people, sometimes people get confused as to if Texas is considered the South. Houston is the South. Houston is the South.
What else would it be?
I don't know, but when I see that, I'm like, damn. Well, what the fuck is going on? I mean, you could look at the map, and you know where South is now. Okay, if you want to get real technical about it, you want to consider people deep South as opposed to, other places along the Atlantic that are still considered the South. Okay, but I think sometimes that's ways of cats trying to pull people closer to New York. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as the way I look at, Fonte is a Southern gentleman. Fonte is from the South. So just because the Carolinas are getting closer to the Mecca, as we say, that don't make him a East Coast MC. Don't make him but I don't know what that is. Because the same thing, people are trying to do that with DOC, DOC, everybody knows DOC's from Dallas, but DOC is repping on the West Coast heavily. But you'll have cats torn,
Yeah, that's weird to me because as a representative of the Mecca, all y'all from the South, even if you're from Delaware.
That's right. Maryland,
Right. Now, obviously, most of us know it doesn't work like that. But yeah, man, I think that I think a lot of people sometimes, again, they like to say the things that support the dumb shit they're pushing, right? To look at Scarface and the Ghetto Boys as not being Southern, I don't get it. Yeah, sure, it's not attached to what you think of when you think of the South, and and how a person who's Southern speaks and their mannerisms, because Texas kind of has their own way of doing things.
Right.
But I mean, I consider it South also. Obviously, I do not think Delaware is the South. I know where the Mason-Dixon line is.
The Mason-Dixon. Yes.
Right. I know where it is. Or the equator, whatever way you want to go with it. I don't know. But I mean, I think I don't know. I think it's stupid to say that, because even though when you're talking about top 10 GOAT lists, Fonte isn't in my GOAT list.
Right.
Scarface is. Outkast is as a group.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Jay Electronica, no. I like him, but no. Lil Wayne, maybe not my list, but I wouldn't be mad if he was in somebody else's list for sure.
Right, no doubt. I mean, I've seen it countless times. Lil Wayne's name is brought up in somebody's list, and just like you said, yeah, you can't be mad at that. Everybody. I mean, if you the type to acknowledge cats, then you can see. The skill, or you can see, if you heard the music yourself, a lot of people you might hear the word South and they're like, I ain't with it, so that person to me can't speak on it. To me, to be able to make a list, and you want to be inclusive, which hip hop is worldwide, so you can't, not have somebody on lists. There's everybody in the world's got a list, so at some point somebody is, the lists are all gonna be different,
right?
So man, Lil Wayne, Scarface, 3000, anybody that's got them in their top 10, I mean, I can't talk, I can't say nothing about it, because they worthy.
Right. So you don't. So you are saying on the record that you do not have Big Bear or Silk the Shocker in your top 10 GOAT list.
Kingpin Skinny Pimp should
Wait a
be in
minute.
everybody's
Who
top
the
10.
hell is that? What Skinny Pimp? Wait, is that
Kingpin,
nicknames?
Kingpin Skinny Pimp. Shout out to Nick. He knows who it is. When he hears it, he'll chime in when he gets it. He's a cat. South. It's just a name. You know, when we finish, check it out. Google it. You'll know. You'll hear.
I ain't googling that. I ain't googling that. That sounds like a who hustle out of a damn good burger or some shit.
The Kingpin Skinny Pimp. The Skinny Pimp dude is like the Memphis, Tennessee, like that 8-ball MJG area like that, I believe.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
I like 8-ball and MJG, but Freddie Gibbs is as far as I go. Freddie Gibbs and T-Pain. There you go. As far as once you start naming, because look, I ain't throwing Crip Jesus at you.
Hey, you know? Crip Jesus.
Even though, you know, if y'all don't know, this was a secret between me and Yentz, but this is rapper out of NY called Crip Jesus. We are not lying.
Nope.
When you Google him, when you see the screenshot, you're gonna be like, man, get this garbage out of here. But if you press play, you just might like it.
Yes, yes.
You might say, yo, this is not bad at all.
Not at all. Yep, that's right. Not bad at all.
Well, look, let's get to the root of this person's of both of these statements, right? And I'm gonna pose a question to you, and I'm gonna answer it myself as well.
Okay.
Because I think the bigger question is, Yentz, do you feel the South is running hip hop?
I'm gonna answer it like
you took a long pause there.
Well, because what you said earlier is true. Like there was a time when it started bubbling and it picked up a lot of steam. You know, 2000s. Yeah, hell yeah. Now at this time, I think it's a little different now. It's not as prevalent in my opinion, as it was, you know, Outkast popping off, the whole Dungeon family. You know, you had Master P and everybody, No Limit. You had you know, Hot Boys and all of that. During that time, yes, without question. You know, all of that, the influence spread like wildfire.
I would say that they are still running hip hop, mainly because, especially Atlanta, mainly because they dominate the radio, and even their sound dominates, even if you're not from there, right? You got West Coast rappers that sound like South rappers. You got New York rappers that sound like South rappers, and they're all successful with that particular sound, which originated in the South. So I'd say they're still running it, you know. Now, will that change? Who knows? You know, somebody has to do something to make the wave go in a different direction. But right now, it's still there, man. It doesn't matter if it's Future or Migos or Gucci Mane or whoever. They're just playing, you know, they're the bigger artists nowadays.
You know what? You're right. That's totally true. That's totally true. So yes, I guess I'm gonna have to jump on board with you, because that does make sense now that I'm thinking about it. From the time we spoke about earlier through to now, yeah, I think
that's a long time.
Yeah, it is. It is a long time.
It's a long run.
That influence. I mean, it's everywhere. So yeah, you know, it's totally not out of the realm of truth to say yes, the South.
All right. So the second statement: do you think, for real, that if you went down a GOAT list are you actually putting Scarface and 3000 and Lil Wayne in your top 10 GOAT conversation?
No, not top 10. No. I don't have any of them in the top 10. No. But now let me kind of
look, man. We won't be doing no ass betting like Stephen A. Smith.
No. See, for me, the reason is I'm an older cat, so all of my music references are from the beginning, from New York and stuff like that. So by the time the South started popping up and making, waves and everything like that, I'm already grown. My musical taste has already kind of been set up to that point, and all of the people that I would consider a GOAT is already there. I'm not one of those ones. I don't move people like that. I've heard people say a few things where they'll move somebody like top. Once you get past 10, then you can juggle people around. But like 10, it's where it is, and I don't. And that ain't no distance. If you outside of 10, let's say the list was up to 50. Yeah, I can have them in a 50, and you still dope. You still a great.
Right.
At 50, at 25, you still a GOAT. You know how many MCs there are? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, to not be top 10 is no slight, because we just already said Scarface is damn sure worthy, and you see people that do it. Now, because I don't do it, I don't need hip hop Twitter don't need to come for me, because I know there's a lot of people that don't have them in the 10, but they still consider them as a great. So that's how I'm answering that.
I think for me, if there was anyone from the South that would be like in my top 10 GOAT or favorite conversation, it would be Scarface.
Absolutely.
Only because when I first heard My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me, that was the verse I gravitated to the most. And when I heard Mr. Scarface on the radio, it just reinforced what I liked about him. And then when I went and bought the album, especially when you see the gunfight on the cover, it was like, give me that violent shit. Like, I know it's violence in there, because I'm younger at the time.
Right.
But even listening to that album, I love that album. Like, I have it, people know how I feel about Ice Cube's Death Certificate. It is literally my favorite album above every hip hop album ever. Mr. Scarface is back. It's probably in my top 5 because and it's probably because of me at that age and what attracted me as a hip hop fan. So I kind of feel like if there was anyone who would be in my top 10 GOAT list, it would be him. I agree with you. I'm from another era too, and there are a lot of 80s cats. They probably take up 6 slots for me, before I start to feel like, all right, you did grow up in the 90s. Throw some of them in there, But yeah, I agree. So I think the first person that talked about, the chokehold in the South was sort of trying to do a hot take type thing, but it wasn't really a hot take because there's some truth to it. Right. But I think the not in the top 10 person, that's a hot take. That's someone who don't know about shit.
Not to say that you haven't seen an MC represented from the South in the top 10. Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch because, like we just finished saying, I've seen 3000, I've seen Lil Wayne, I've seen Scarface, I've seen, like 8 Ball. I've seen a few people say 8 Ball from 8 Ball and MJG. I've seen some people say Bun B from the Underground Kings. I mean, Port Arthur, Texas. That is South. That's damn near in the damn Gulf of Mexico. So there's no question that UGK are from the South.
Well, I think this was a productive discussion. Nothing too crazy mentioned, on hip hop Twitter. Trust me, people, there will be times, because there's usually times where it gets a little crazy.
Absolutely.
But what do you think? You, the listener, the person that's listening to this right now, does the South have a chokehold on hip hop? Do you not have a Southern rapper in your top 10? Do you consider Delaware to be the South? Leave your comments in the comment section below. And please know that you can subscribe to this podcast, the audio podcast. All you got to do is go to your favorite podcasting app, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or an independent third-party podcasting app. Type in the search bar, Hip Hop Now Podcast, hit subscribe, and stay locked in to hip hop content. And remember, once you subscribe, share this podcast with people you know enjoy this kind of content. I am your host, Vegas, on behalf of the homie Yentz. Next time, please don't say no dumb shit on Twitter.
Keep it straight, people. Keep it straight.
All right, keep it straight. You pyramid hat wearing ass, like
pyramid hat.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Drop it on the random.